There we go. Well, thank you everyone for joining us tonight. As you know, today we're going to be talking about semi-absentee franchise ownership. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Kenny Rose with Franet in Los Angeles. And I'm sorry, if you guys could put your phones on mute, that'd be very much appreciated. We're hearing a little bit of background from a few folks. Thank you. As I mentioned, my name is Kenny Rose. I'm with Franet in Los Angeles. We have folks joining us from the Pacific Northwest, Southern California, and I believe a few from Hawaii, so aloha to you all there. For those of you who don't know, Franet's actually been around for nearly 30 years. We work with over 100 different franchises in all sorts of different industries. In fact, we're going to hear about two very exciting ones that you probably have not heard of before tonight. Since 1987, we've been partnered with the Small Business Administration, America's SBDC, and SCORE. And as you can tell by the little puzzle piece there, what we really hope is trying to find your perfect match when it comes to business ownership, because everyone who's listening today comes from very different backgrounds and have different goals, and what we're here is to help you connect to those. What we do is a no-cost service. We work just like an executive recruiter who's trying to help you find the right match, and franchises who are looking for long-term success are willing to help us in order to connect you to the right opportunities there. The different steps in order to get from square one where we are into business ownership, first it all starts with having that thought of maybe I could be a business owner. Usually that's where a lot of people tend to give up, and what we do is really get people educated. Taking that first step is always the biggest, and you're here doing it right now, getting information and learning more about specific businesses as well as really just franchise ownership in general. Throughout the process, we're very big on getting all the facts and working on a local level. So for those of you in the Los Angeles area, I'd be working with you, and I'm sure most of you know your local consultants who got you an invitation to this. So expectations for today. I'll start with the unrealistic, that you're going to listen today and decide, I found it and I'm done, and go from there. Realistic expectation is that you need to understand that there are successful franchises out there that you can continue to work at a corporate position and own on the side as an investment. And I think you're going to be very happy today to learn from both SCOA and Snippets that are on the line with us to learn more about them. So I'm going to start you off with introduction on semi-absentee ownership, and then we'll hear from Andrea Scott from SCOA and then Kim Ellis from Snippets, and then wrap up from there to answer any questions that you might have. So what is semi-absentee ownership? Well, as you might imagine, because semi-absentee is a business where you can manage a manager, typically these are going to be having a storefront. Your role is really on focusing on management and marketing. Depending on the business, it's typically going to be a time commitment of about 10 to 15 hours a week. Obviously, that will vary for the type of business that you're looking at, and as well as the roles. As you can see, you're really hoping to look at employees that already have prior experience, and so when you are managing a manager who's working with those types of employees, you can really focus on being an owner and working on the business and not in the business. We typically see many people who look at semi-absentee ownership explore multi-unit ownership because it is one of the simpler ways of doing so. Now, as you can see, when it comes to what type of industries you're looking at, you'll hear from both SCOA and Snippets that they're probably industries that you've never had experience before. And again, what we're looking for is what your transferable skills are. And so we can really help you utilize those into learning their business model and, again, focus on being a business owner. When you're looking at semi-absentee ownership, the main goals here are building equity and residual income. And, as I mentioned, typically you're not going to have any background in that industry. In fact, I'd be very surprised if you did. Now, one thing I really like to do is focus more on what semi-absentee is, especially as an investment. My background before helping people explore franchise ownership, I was a financial advisor with Merrill Lynch. And so I really want to dive into why people look at franchise ownership compared to what else is out there. I'd say it really comes down to asset appreciation versus creation. So asset appreciation is what most people typically think of when it comes to an investment. You think of stock, real estate. These days you have Bitcoins. I'm a little skeptic on those though. And then the existing businesses or franchise resales. So what those are, you purchase at an established price based on what the market is quoted it at, and then you're hoping in a future time that they will appreciate in value. Now, this is very different from asset creation. So this could be, if you think on the real estate side, instead of buying an existing home, this is from the land up building that home. If you want to go with the Bitcoin example, there are people who know the technology side and are actually creating Bitcoin. So, no investment there, but they are creating significant wealth on that end. And then there's starting a business from scratch. As you may imagine, and why you're typically looking at the franchise side of things, that there's typically a longer runway with starting up from scratch and a little tougher to succeed there. And then obviously there's starting a franchise, and we're going to dive more into that today. Return on investment obviously depends on the value in marketplace. So that's why people typically look at stocks and real estate, is that they're, you think of the stock market and different realtors, and you can understand that it's an easier way to transact those type of assets. And when you look at creation of an asset, you want to find something that does have value and does have a marketplace, which is why more and more people typically look at franchise ownership. Once you have that existing brand name and the systems in place, you automatically have a broader marketplace there. People typically like to ask about resales for these type of businesses, and those are the ones who are going to be paying a premium on someone else's harder work there. So again, asset appreciation, we're thinking about stocks, real estate, things like that. Pros, obviously, when you're investing in stock, you don't have to spend too much time on it. You might have a financial advisor who helps you with that. They're doing the research for you. You can look at the history of it and see what they've done in the past. And frankly, you could be just about anyone as long as you have a check and get into something where you're hoping the asset will appreciate. The cons, well, obviously there's a higher purchase price. You can look at any one of those assets that appreciate, even stock market. Someone got in on an IPO before. They eventually sold it at a higher rate, hopefully, to a future investor. Same thing with buying an existing home. Someone built the foundation, eventually sold it for a higher price, and they're getting that market appreciation. One of my main cons when it comes to asset appreciation is there's a reason for selling. Whether it's the stock market or an existing business or a home, they have reasoning behind it. Now, that reasoning may not be divulged to you, which is a very scary idea. If there's a business for sale, I would say if it's a perfect business, someone has already approached them with an offer, or they have a friend in mind who would like to purchase it. So it's really tough, but very important to dive into, well, why is someone selling an already existing asset? And obviously, you want to do deep due diligence on any type of investment that you'll do, but when it comes to real estate and the stock market, it's much harder to. When it comes to especially franchise ownership, everything research-wise is to be in plain English, and it's very easy to validate. You try and go through the deep background of a stock, and it's going to come up with a lot of different things in between there. So let's look at asset creation, just like franchise ownership. So again, much lower investment cost. So people who are like today looking at investing and starting a franchise, they're going to come in at a much lower buy-in price than someone who already created it, built it up, and then sell it to a future owner. Have a lot more control over your investment. So as much as you may like playing in the stock market, you really don't have too much control of how your investments are going to produce for you. Versus with franchise ownership, you do have that direct control. Next is going to be obviously the supervision of that. Just like control, you have both the control and the supervision. And like I said, because you're not paying that higher price, you're obviously going to have a higher return on investment. So the cons with asset creation. Well, obviously there's a time commitment. Whether it's starting a business or building a house, you're going to put more effort into it than other people. Other side is that need for business acumen. Really you can't just walk up with a check and say you'd like to start a business. Good franchises are doing that validation on franchisees to make sure that they're going to be people who can be successful in their model. So you need to have experience showing that your transferable skills can be utilized to create a franchise. And finally, there's barriers to entry. So obviously that comes down to investment level, like that business acumen. And we like to see having a college degree is very helpful. Having that experience in the corporate world, we like to see. And again, that's why it's a two-way conversation when you're working with franchisors. Now, first up, we're going to have Andrea with SCOA. So Andrea, go ahead and take it away.
Hi, everyone. My name is Andrea Scott. I'm hoping everyone can hear me okay. I'm actually really excited to present to you all today, and I am the co-owner and co-founder of SCOA. So SCOA is a semi-absentee manager-run concept, and I'm going to walk you through why this would be a great concept for many different backgrounds. But I would really like to start actually at the very beginning, and I'm going to take a bit about what, why, who, how approach to the conversation tonight just to keep us on track. We actually had no experience in the industry that we're in, and SCOA is a facial shop, so we're a slightly different take on the spa, health and wellness and beauty industry. And we started our business in 2001, and the whole sort of reason for getting involved in the industry to begin with was actually based on an article that we had read. It was an Ernst & Young report about spas and how they were outpacing golf as the fastest growing leisure activity. And we had never been to a spa, and we thought, well, what is this industry all about? And so we decided to go in and try out a spa experience and see how we felt. And, to be honest, I think not having experience in the industry actually has been the thing that has given us the greatest success, and I'll get into that in a little bit. So we went into a spa, and, we noticed right away that it was not an experience that we felt really was designed for people that lived the lifestyle that we lived, and we were not unusual. We were young at the time. I was 25, and my business partner and husband was about 30, and we went into this spa, and we were both busy working professionals, and we realized when we went in that just the way that it was designed, the music, I think they were playing some kind of whale music or panpipes, the way that we were communicated with, we felt very intimidated. And I remember I went into this fitting room, and they put me in this gigantic robe, and I actually came out and sat in the lounge and felt like I was in a spa that was really designed for my grandmother. And at the time we didn't know if it was just the one that we were in or if all spas were like that, and we started to go and visit a few other spas. And every time we came out of it, we said, why isn't there anybody creating an experience for the urban, busy, working professional, someone who wants to go in and have a great experience, but they only have an hour or two. They want to listen to music that they would listen to at home to relax in, and they want to be communicated with in a way that is very comfortable and approachable and not feel nervous or like they don't belong. And it was really in that aha moment that we actually created the concept of SCOA. We really felt that the 25 to 55-year-old back 15 years ago was really being excluded from the industry. We opened our first location in 2001, and we started with a tagline of no whale music, no bubbling cherubs, and no pretentious attitudes. And it was a very clean, modern design, gender-neutral colors, and we wanted it to be fun. And right at the very entrance of every location, we had a great big jar of bubble gum, and that was really designed to make people feel comfortable when they walked in the door. And in the beginning, we were actually a full-service spa, so we did waxing, manicures, pedicures, facials, and massage. But we were very good, because we didn't come from the industry, at looking at what was being done in the industry and saying, well, why can't we change the music? Why can't we change the decor? And why can't we just communicate very clearly with our customers? And we noticed a few other things about the industry right away. And one of the things that we noticed is that estheticians really, in general, did not love doing some of the typical spa services. Waxing wasn't something that a lot of estheticians loved doing. Pedicures and toenails were not something that most estheticians really got super excited about. But most of the estheticians that we met with, they love giving facials. And that has really proved to help us in our hiring, because we really attract estheticians. They love the idea of what we do now, which is just facials. We also noticed that the big difference with the facial than any other treatment that we did was that it very easily led itself to the product sale, and that was a really big deal. And so about 18 months into launching our concept, we actually, again, made a bit of a switch and changed our concept to personal training for your skin, and took everything off the menu except for facial, hired a chemist, and launched our own product line. But more on the product line in a bit. So with that change, personal training for your skin was born, and that really spoke to the young urban professional. They understood what it was like to have a gym membership type experience for their bodies, and so they really got behind the idea of going to SCOA for a skincare workout, which is what the facials are, seeing a skincare trainer, which is a licensed esthetician, and using our Simply Powerful skincare product line. Oops, sorry, just switching slides. And this is where the concept of the facial shop was born. And this is what's really exciting about this opportunity. The facial shop is something that really doesn't exist right now. We don't currently have direct competition in this space. There's full-service spas, but none of these will deliver the facial experience that SCOA does, because our estheticians do between 6 and 8 facials a day versus a typical spa where an esthetician might do, if they're lucky, 6 or 8 facials a week or every 2 weeks. We also there's also skincare product retailers like Kiehl's or the Body Shop, but they really don't offer an experience in stores like SCOA does. We also can see that nail bars, blow-dry bars, massage places are becoming highly competitive places to play. But the single-service model is a very successful one. There just isn't another concept identical to SCOA out there, really marrying the proprietary skincare line with a robust in-store facial experience. And we also know that we protect the concept with the fact that you could never have a facial online. So we are always attracting people to come into our stores. In a similar way, I guess, that Massage Envy changed the landscape of how people consumed massages and transformed that into a monthly habit, that's exactly what we do at SCOA with our locations now. Our products are also a very exciting part of our business, and we developed the product line in a very unusual way relative to other skincare product lines. Because we were only doing facials in our locations, we started our product line with 5 skincare products, 2 cleansers, a toner, 2 moisturizers. Then what we did was we took the products from the lab that we were thinking about making, took them into the treatment room, and got real feedback from real customers all day long. But we also got feedback from the estheticians who were in turn selling the products. All of our products contain our proprietary blend of 11 different natural plant extracts. They marry the best of science with naturally derived ingredients. We don't use parabens, sulfations, we don't use petroleum byproducts, and we're actually also vegan and PETA certified. We use plant-based oils like olive oils, hyaluronic acid, shea butter, coconut, but we also incorporate some of the most advanced active ingredients in the market, such as peptides and plant polypeptides. And our products are made both in Canada and the U.S. What's really remarkable about the business model is that in our current locations now, and we have 17 locations, 50 to 70% of our total revenue comes from the product sales. And in the spa and beauty industry, to have 20% of your sales coming from a product line would actually be considered to be very exceptional. So we're really leading the charge there with the product stuff, Another compelling part of our concept is that we don't charge a royalty on the product sales, and there's a compelling margin of 65% gross margin on the product. The customer experience is also where we really shine. Our entire concept is based on educating and making sure that people really understand what goes into a product and why it's really important to them. And we couple that with a very educational and empathetic experience in our stores. Our customers come in monthly. It's a membership-based model. They're regulars. We get to know them very, very well. 1 out of every 5 Americans has a gym membership. And at SCOA, we want to parallel that with what happens in our stores. And so we would like to see the Skin Gym membership be a very normal part of people's lives. And that's really what some of the great role model brands like Massage Envy and some of the other massage concepts have been able to do. Over the years, we've garnered a lot of wonderful media attention. We've been voted best place for a facial in Boston every year, and that's a great accolade because they are such a fabulous beauty publication. And one of the nice things about the coverage is that we really get coverage about services as well as the product. And we're currently working with Fishman PR to really support the franchisees with their opening as well. So the question is, who are we looking for? Well, we're not looking for someone who is a skincare expert. We were not from the industry, but we have incredibly strong systems, training, operations, and customer experience tools that have worked very, very well for all of our stores. We need really local community-based entrepreneurs who can get in front of the brand and, like Kenny explained, really market the brand and manage the manager in making sure that the store is running. They should share our passion for connecting with the community, leading a healthy lifestyle, leading with empathy. But what we really want is for them to almost be like a community connector and get to go in front of the people that are in their community. So if you're looking for a concept with multiple revenue streams, which operates as a semi-absentee manager-run model, and you love to connect with people and believe you can grow your business by presenting SCOA to like-minded people, we would love to share more about what this opportunity is all about. Thank you.
Perfect. Andrea, thank you so much. Next up, we have Kim Ellis with Snippets. So, Kim, go ahead and take it away.
Great. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Let's see. Is that working? Can you see? Oh, there.
Okay, what happened?
Yeah, I don't know what happened.
Oh, there we go.
That is so weird. Okay, sorry, folks.
You want me to go?
I can't.
You want me to,
there we go. Finally got it.
All
right. So, sorry about that. My name is Kim Ellis, and thanks for joining us this evening. I am with a company called Snippets. Also, interestingly enough, in the salon business, but we are specialized in providing a very upscale environment for children and children's haircuts in particular. So I'm going to guess that for those of you that have kids out there, you can empathize with this particular shot on the screen. This is pretty much what most people are experience when they go to get their kids' haircuts. And, in fact, that's exactly what happened when our founder, Joanna Masalis, took her son to get his first haircut. She thought that it was going to be this milestone event. She brought the video camera. She was all excited. And it was anything but a fun-filled adventure. In fact, she was turned away from 2 different salons because they didn't do kids. And she finally did have a haircut, and it was a very poor quality haircut. The child was traumatized by it, and she felt like there had to be a better way. So she spent 3 years researching the salon industry and really found out there are 3 things. She identified 3 very compelling things. Number 1 was that hairdressers really hated doing kids' hair, and it was really not because they didn't like the kids or they didn't like doing their hair. It was because they weren't properly trained to do that and didn't feel comfortable in that role. And number 2, kids were frightened by the process, which made it even more difficult for the hairdresser. And the reason they were frightened is because nobody ever explained what was going to happen. So from their perspective, here they're taken away from their parent and put into a chair, strapped into a chair typically, put a cape around them, and they end up with wet hair and somebody stranger coming at them with scissors. Very traumatizing, obviously, from their perspective. And so number 3, she realized that she found that parents were willing to pay a much higher price point for a convenient location, a quality service, and a very happy child. So she created Snippets. And Snippets was started in 1995. Joanna opened her first salon in Framingham, Massachusetts. By 2002, she had 5 different successful salons, very successful small business owner, and she started being approached by individuals that wanted her to franchise. She had never really thought about franchising before, but decided that it might be something that she'd be interested in doing. So in 2003, she decided to franchise her first location. And Joanna was actually notably the Jack Benny's granddaughter. Jack Benny being a very well-known comic in the 50s and 60s. She also had a Academy Award-winning director for a father. So she used her exposure in the entertainment industry to create this whimsical cast of characters that you can see on the trademark arch that is featured in all of our salons. And she used that cast of characters throughout the branding of the salon. You can see here in this photo that our salons are extremely busy. They're very, I would say, Dr. Seuss meets Disney. And it's a really fun environment for kids. In fact, it's not just a place where kids feel welcome. They actually feel celebrated. The interesting part about our business model is just like SCOA, we have multiple revenue streams. So in addition to offering a child a haircut, we actually have spa services. We have retail, our own proprietary retail products and parties. We also have specialty services like hair updos and ear piercing or braiding clinics. In these photos, you can see that we have some interesting features to our business model. One is that we, again, recognizing that we want to cater to the audience of the mom, we have put an actual parent chair in the cutting station, which is really, we're the only ones that do that. And we offer proprietary video games for the child to play. Now this photo actually is a tiny bit dated because we've actually migrated now to tablets. We've just recently upgraded all the technology in our salon and tightened up our footprint. But we have migrated over everything so that it is all continuing to be our own proprietary created adventures featuring, again, that cast of characters. We also have a regular-sized cutting chair, and that's really specifically to address the hairdresser. Hairdressers are, again, not in favor of cutting kids' hair because often you'll see in some kids' salons they might be seated in a toy truck or a fire engine, making it really difficult for a hairdresser to deliver on a really good quality haircut if they're leaning over an obstacle like that. So we've really tried to make this a much more rewarding place for a hairdresser to work, and that starts by creating an environment that they're going to be comfortable working in. Now, I mentioned having parties. A lot of people ask me about those parties, and they think about kids and haircuts. How do the parties work? Well, in fact, the parties are more centered around glamour. So if you look at this photo, we are in the process of a glamour party here. And if you think about 6 or 8 8-year-old girls getting all glammed up, they've got makeup, they put their hair up in updos, maybe we'll add a manicure. And the best part, walking the red carpet, of course. And this is a great way for a child to celebrate her birthday. It's very fun, and obviously you can imagine it engages the other folks that are in the salon, and sometimes creates additional exposure for those that have attended the party to come back and have haircuts or other services. Other people have asked me about the spa services, and they think spa services for 5-year-olds, really? Well, yeah, actually, we do manis, manicures, pedicures, and facials. These are not your adult versions, since we don't really worry about wrinkles or cuticles at age 5 or 6. But we do have a lot of fun, and we typically will provide all of these services in our little spa corner, and they get their own little pink robe with fuzzy slippers, maybe some cucumbers over the eyes. It's all meant to just sort of mimic what mom might be doing at maybe a SCOA salon. So as I mentioned before, our entire business model is based on what our founder identified in what we call our triangle of success. It has to be fun for kids, convenient for parents, and rewarding for stylists. So just to give you an overview of the Snippets opportunity, we put together we have put together a franchise program that now has 66 locations in the U.S. We have 3 corporate locations. We have 43 franchisees that account for more than 70% of our salons. 33 franchise agreements are pending opening, and we have 5 salons that are going to open in the next probably 3 weeks. So very, very well positioned for growth and currently growing pretty rapidly. Today we're on target to add another 30 agreements by the end of the year, and this is the type of business that doesn't come along very often. In fact, when you look at some of the other types of salon businesses, and I'm going to use Gray Clips as an example, they started with they used the franchise model for semi-absentee multi-unit ownership and applied it to the salon model. Well, we've taken that salon model and now even narrowed the niche further by really applying it to just the children's audience. And because there really isn't another salon in the United States, a chain salon that is offering franchises that is in upscale areas, that has the proven business model, that has the proven support team, it is a really interesting opportunity to become part of an industry at a very ground floor opportunity. So let's talk a little bit about what makes it an attractive opportunity. It's really easy to run. A salon is very, for all intents and purposes, very easy in terms of the financials. There's not a lot of overhead. You have the multiple revenue streams allowing the franchisee to really maximize their top line. We have exclusive retail products that are only found in our salons. We don't provide them to the general public online. We don't compete with our franchisees. And so it really creates a very positive way to bring additional folks back into the franchisee salon. We have proven and established business models. We've been doing this a long time. Our support team has more than 200 years of experience in both franchising and in the salon industry, so very, very seasoned veterans are at the helm of this company and are committed to the franchisees. In fact, we measure our success based on the success of our franchisees. We also have a proprietary web-based management portal that is integrated and syncs with our POS systems in our salons, which allows the franchise owner to really run their salon from anywhere, creating that semi-absentee opportunity. We want our franchisees focused on looking at their financials, we're very metrics driven, so watching the different performance indicators, measuring customer counts, identifying opportunities for ramping up their driving more customer visits, driving up the average ticket, adding on with value instead of trying to bring in more customers through discounting. Again, we are a very upscale brand. We're going to be found in upscale areas, so we're not going to do a lot of discounting. It's much more of a branding opportunity, and that keeps that top line much more consistent for our franchisees. In addition to that, we're very, very robust in terms of our marketing. We have every type of marketing piece that you can imagine to help our franchisees grow their business. And included in that is not just the traditional print and different kinds of flyers or opportunities to do cross promotions with other children's types of businesses, but we're extremely heavy in blogging, social media, and Google AdWords. So really focusing your advertising through a single dashboard in your own 5-mile protected trade area gives our franchisees an awful lot of control over how their marketing dollars are spent and what the return of investment is on those dollars. Again, this is multi-unit semi-absentee ownership, so we've built in the incentive for folks by discounting our franchise fee. If you buy a single location versus a 3-pack, 5-pack, even a 10-pack is available. So for those of you that want that empire, we have the ability for you to come in on that ground floor level and really capture the best locations in your trade areas. As I mentioned, it's a 5-mile protected area. We have a lot of trade areas available. Our franchisees are very, very happy. We have the Franchise Business Review Top 50 award. Very impressive opportunity and very comprehensive discovery process. So who are we looking for? We're looking for individuals that have at least a $500,000 net worth, that are interested in creating a business that they can leverage their own background, their business savvy, they can achieve their lifestyle and financial expectations. We want somebody that's going to be enthusiastic. They are good at building teams and really don't have a background in the salon industry. It's not necessary. It's not part of our business model. We will teach you everything you need to know to be successful, and we will also set you up in a great location to get your business open and started. For the sake of time, I'm going to skip the last 2 slides and just let you know that we are really interested in speaking with anybody that has an interest in an opportunity that is easy to run, recession-resistant, multi-unit, and we are looking forward to hearing from you through your local broker, through your local friend at broker, and working with you to see if it's a good match. Thank you.
Perfect. Kim, thank you so much for joining us.
Absolutely.
So the next step from here, obviously your local friend or representative will be reaching out to you sometime tomorrow. And for those of you who haven't taken our personalized franchise assessment, they will tell you much more about it, but a great way of bringing science into what businesses are a good match for both you as your personality as well as your long-term goals. At this point, we've reached the end here. So if you have any questions for myself, Andrea, or Kim, we'd love to hear from you. All right. I will take that as golden silence. All right. Well, everyone, thank you so much for joining us today, and look forward to an email from your local FRANET representative, and they're going to help you explore the next steps going forward. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Oh, Andrew, are you still here?
Kenny, I'm here. Liz.
Okay. Let's see. Actually, Prasanna, that might be something to go over with the. Actually, Andrew, do you want to handle that? There's a little question for you in the chat.
Oh, I'm sorry. I had exited out of the visual portion of it.
Okay. Prasanna, why don't you have that conversation with your local FRANET person, and might be best suited that way. Well, thank you, everyone, very much for joining us, and look forward to speaking with you all soon. Thanks.